I talk a lot about the Prem on this channel, but my actual favorite league is Serie A. Not because of play styles, tactics, but because every day in Italian football really does feel like a new episode of The Sopranos.
Open the fucking door. Open the fucking door!
And today, finally, I get once more a chance to talk about this league and what's going on right now. But first, this isn't a proper Serie A season until there's 800 different managerial changes before the campaign even starts. After falling short of the title by a single point on the final day and then being violated in the Champions League, manager Simone Inzaghi decided he was tired of watching Federico Di Marco defend and left for Saudi Arabia. Under Inzaghi, Inter was a step above the rest in Italy. They had a distinct system and identity that created attractive flowing football and stonewall defending. This translated into numerous pieces of silverware and 2 appearances in the Champions League final in just 4 years. With him gone now, Inter had to act quick and careful with their next appointment. And they did as sensible of a job as could be done to make sure there wasn't too much chaos in the transition, as Inter brought in Christian Chivu, who managed the youth teams from 2018 to 2024 and then achieved promotion in his first professional season with Parma. Ironically enough though, that was the tamest change. After 9 years of building arguably the most influential movement in modern Italian football, Gianpiero Gasperini left Atalanta. With 1 Europa League title under his belt, Gasperini said he wanted a new challenge for renewed enthusiasm, and in the end he decided on Roma. However, the manager vowed that while he was leaving, his former club would most definitely win more silverware soon. Atalanta then proceeded to appoint someone who was sacked by Roma after just 3 months. After initially starting strong last season, Marco Baroni's Lazio collapsed, failed to qualify for Europe, and that saw the manager leave before the board could sack him. Taking the helm would be everyone's favorite chain smoker Maurizio Sarri, who returns to the club for the first time since he called it quits in March 2024. You wanna know why he quit initially? Well, allegedly, he asked the dressing room whether or not he should leave or stay, to which the dressing room said nothing. Sergio Conceição's funny cigar dance was not enough to keep Milan's spirits up last season, as they were upset in the Coppa Italia final and failed to qualify for Europe. This sees yet another reunion, that's 2 more in 1 month than my family has seen in 10 years, as Italian football's favorite crash-out artist Massimiliano Allegri returns to Milan for the first time since 2014. Speaking of Milan, their former manager that helped them to their first Scudetto since the Allegri days was now leading Fiorentina. This was after the previous coach, Raffaele Palladino, quit because of an alleged feud with the sporting director. I love Italian football. So in the end, because of the absolute volatility and hilarity of the beautiful game in this country, only 3 teams in the top 9 finishers last season kept their managers. Napoli with Antonio Conte, Juventus with Igor Tudor, and Bologna with Vincenzo Italiano. I love Italian football.
Mix.
Going into the 2025-26 Serie A season, the biggest transfer blockbuster was Kevin De Bruyne on a free to Napoli. At 34 years old, though, many doubts surrounded his ability to impact the game like before. However, it took less than an hour in De Bruyne's Serie A debut to erase all uncertainties, as Napoli would start the season with a 2-0 win. Luka Modric to Milan was another blockbuster UNC signing. However, the 40-year-old's welcome party was spoiled by a real-life JoJo character and a future random Serie A UNC in the making. Meanwhile, their rivals Inter are off to a flying start with their new coach. Looks like things will be just fine for Nerazzurri. However, in the following match day, Inter dropped points after losing to Udinese at home, while only 4 teams remain perfect after 2 games played: Napoli, Juventus, Roma, and newly promoted Cremonese. Now is a good time to give the good people of the world some Serie A lore. Cremonese's head coach is Davide Nicola, a legend amongst relegation candidates in the country. In 2016-17, he guided Crotone to a great escape after the team had only picked up 9 points in the first half of the season. In 2021, he helped Torino just narrowly miss out on relegation. In the very next year, Nicola oversaw a last-place Salernitana collect 18 points in the last 15 games to survive on the final day. And in 2024, Davide guided another great escape, which saw Empoli escape relegation by the skin of their teeth thanks to a last-minute goal on the final match day. The guy just lives for this kind of drama. Italian Big Sam, basically. Better than Big Sam, though. Davide's men would pick up a draw versus Hellas Verona in match day 3, and because of Roma's first loss of the season, Cremonese remained 3rd after 3 games played. Another foreign face in Udinese were enjoying a good start in 4th. Okay, they're foreign if you're not too familiar with Serie A. Udinese tend to do this thing where they overachieve in the beginning of the season and then return to mediocrity before anyone even notices. Anyways, the other 2 teams hoping to remain perfect were Napoli and Juventus. Napoli beat Fiorentina with new signing Rasmus Højlund already experiencing the post-United transformation, while Juventus had a date with Inter. 13 minutes played, Juve score early through Lloyd Kelly. Then, the Turkish guys on both teams decided they wanted to win a Puskás. 30 minutes played, the usual suspect, Hakan Çalhanoğlu, sends a stinging shot from outside the box into the net. 7 minutes later though, Juve's Kenan Yıldız fires a rocket from even farther out into the net. However, Çalhanoğlu replies with an anything you can do, I can do 10 times better. Dear fucking lord, what a goal. Inter then take the lead in the 76th minute through a Marcus Thuram header. However, Juventus respond with a header of their own from Marcus's brother Kefram. This game really has everything. But we're not even done there yet. 90 minutes played, Vasily Adzic, no momentum, no nothing, just a straight nuclear missile fired into the net, and Juventus win this classic 4-3 to remain perfect. And then they draw with 17th place Hellas Verona the very next week. Juventus, though, will be thankful to keep second after Udinese and Cremonese drop points as well. This opens the door for Milan, who beat Udinese, to climb up to third. Roma also benefit from this as well, as they move into fourth after narrowly defeating their hated rivals Lazio. Meanwhile, Napoli continue their absolute domination of the league with a 3-2 win versus Pisa. That was until matchday 5 though, as Maga Messi Christian Pulisic with a goal and assist single-handedly takes down the Kings of Italy, and just like that, we have a new league leader. Juventus could have quickly knocked Milan off the top, but they just can't stop dropping points since their triumph over Inter. So with Roma's 2-0 win versus Hellas Verona, that now means there's a 3-way tie for the top spot. Inter also returned to the top 5 after a 2-week absence that saw them as low as 11th. Also, fun fact, with Napoli's defeat, there's only 3 teams left unbeaten: Juventus, Atalanta, and Cremonese. Yeah, I really gotta stop speaking too soon. It took just a week for the league leader to change again, and that's all thanks to Juventus drawing with anything that moves at this point. Both Roma and Napoli win their games 2-1, and because the goal difference doesn't change, we yet again have a new leader. Meanwhile, Atalanta is doing the exact same thing as Juventus, unbeaten in 6 games, 4 of which have been draws, with the most recent one keeping them in 6th for the time being. Bologna started this season pretty underwhelming, but 2 wins and 1 draw later, and they're sniffing around the European spots. Match day 7, the league leaders Napoli concede to a former player, and in doing so, they lose their 2nd game of the season. So now is an opportunity for 2nd place Roma to take the top spot for the first time since 2013-14.
That's a great ball. Now, Bonny for an early opener here. And they've done just that.
That was in the 6th minute of the game, by the way. What about Milan then? Well, they fell 1-0 down to 17th place Fiorentina. However, Rafael Leao would quickly respond for Milan and then score the game-winning penalty with 5 minutes left. And so, we have a new leader. And also because of Inter's win versus Roma and Napoli's loss, the Nerazzurri are now 2nd, just a point behind the Rossoneri. Juventus have now gone 4 games winless, but instead of a draw, they picked up their first loss of the campaign versus Como. This sees Juve fall to 7th, and Como now entered the top 6. Which is probably now a good time for another brief Italian lore drop. Como was bought out by some extremely rich Indonesians who took them from Serie D in 2019 to the top division only 6 years later. They also currently have legendary midfielder Cesc Fabregas as manager. Anyways, after beating Cagliari away from home, Bologna move up to 5th in the table, while the only remaining quote-unquote unbeaten team in the league, Atalanta, fall to 8th after collecting their 3rd straight draw of the campaign. Match day 8, and dude, oh my fucking god. Okay, let me quickly think of a different way to say this for like the 900th time. With the league leaders once again donnying on that bubba, this left the throne to be decided by a match between 2nd place Inter and 3rd place Napoli. Alright. Quick lore drop. Napoli's manager Antonio Conte used to be Inter's head coach back in 2019, and he was there until 2021. He helped them break Juve's mid-2010s dictatorial regime in 2021, but then left immediately after due to the club's bleak financial situation. This led a lot of Inter's players feeling betrayed, especially the ones who had feuds with him during his time at the club, including Lautaro Martinez. And all that pent-up anger between the both of them finally reached a boiling point. Around the hour mark of the match, Conte and Denzel Dumfries started chirping at each other, which prompted Martinez to join said argument. Lautaro then made a gesture towards Conte, basically saying the manager was, quote, shitting himself. Conte then responded saying, quote, wrap your laughing gear around this, and then pointed at his own crotch. I love Italian football. Anyways, Napoli won this pretty convincingly thanks to the vessel of Diego Maradona, and once more, we have a new leader. Roma's been embracing the American ideal of no ties as of late, and with Paulo Dybala's first goal of the season, the Giallorossi move up to second, tied on points with the league leaders. Both 5th place Bologna and 6th place Como could only pick up draws this week, but fortunately for them, they don't lose any spots, because the two teams below them in Atalanta and Juve continue to see their form dwindle. Atalanta in particular extend their invincible season with yet another draw, while Juve lose again, this time to a Lazio side in transfer jail. Juve dropped to 8th because of this result, and with a 5-game winless run in hand, the club decided to cut their losses early and sack Igor Tudor. In his place comes Luciano Spalletti, who helped Napoli win the Scudetto back in 2023. Match day 9, and even though it's Halloween's, no horrors beyond our comprehension. Both Napoli and Roma win their respective matches for the first time in what feels like an eternity, so the top 2 remain the same. But you know what's almost as terrifying as seeing the top 4 shift around like a cursed puzzle? Atalanta. Their latest victim this time? 3rd place AC Milan. And with Inter beating Fiorentina 3-0, they trade spots with their rivals. Speaking of Fiorentina, they are struggling. In their first 9 games under Pioli, they failed to win a single game. Keep in mind, this team has finished consistent upper half of the table throughout the last 3 seasons. Anyways, Como move up to 5th after their victory versus Hellas Verona and Bologna's draw with Torino. Meanwhile, 8th place Juve finally end their winless run after beating Udinese, so they move up to 7th. It should also be mentioned that from 1st place Napoli to 13th place Torino is just a 9-point gap. Match day 10, Napoli are really starting to feel the brunt of multiple injuries to key players, as they can only settle for a draw at home versus Como. Luckily for them, Roma's kryptonite appears to be teams from Milan, and with Inter picking up another win this week, the 2 Milan sides now occupy 2nd and 3rd. 6th place Bologna move up to 5th thanks to their win versus Parma and Como's draw. Another team that benefited from Como dropping points was Juve, who win their first game on Spalletti's debut. And finally, the terrorists have fallen, as not only do Atalanta lose their first game of the season, the dictator in command, Ivan Juric, has also been sacked as a result. Alas, we are now free, as in his place comes Fiorentina's former coach, Raffaele Palladino. Matchday 11, and down goes our league leaders again, as Napoli lose 2-0 to Bologna. 2nd place Inter, on the other hand, take full advantage of this opportunity, and of course, we now have a new league leader. The other 2 in the top 4 also pick up at least 1 point, which means they too move above Napoli. Roma in particular earned a victory and are now tied on points with league leaders Inter. This all is made even funnier by the fact that 5th place Bologna, the team that literally caused this chaos in the first place, don't move up a single spot. Then you got 6th place Juve and 7th place Como just hanging in there after picking up draws in their respective fixtures. Match day 12, and mirroring the many governments the CIA has dealt with, Agent Christian Pulisic of AC Milan drops an unsuspecting bomb on Inter's title hopes. Seeing this massive opportunity, Roma makes sure to not pull the same shit like last time, beat Cremonese, and we have a new league leader. Meanwhile, 4th place Napoli put an end to their 2-game winless run with a convincing victory over Atalanta. So with that result, we see them move to 3rd, and some deja vu for the former leaders Inter, who fall to 4th. And tied on points right behind Inter are 5th place Bologna, who are only 3 points from the top, while 6th place Juve drop points again and swap points with 7th place Como, who absolutely mangled Torino. Match day 13, Roma simply cannot stop conceding one-on-ones versus the top 4 teams as they lose to Napoli. So now is 2nd place AC Milan's chance to take the crown, and they do so with a 1-0 win at home versus Lazio. I'm not fucking saying it again. I will actually go insane if I see another lead change. 4th place Inter collect all 3 points as well, which means for a 3rd straight week, the former leader falls to 4th. Do these guys know which position wins them the title? Because I really don't think they do. 5th place Bologna see their legitimate unbeaten run of 9 games come to an end at the hands of Cremonese. 6th place Como, on the other hand, extend their own unbeaten run to 10 and move to 5th as a result. I'd be pissed if I was Bologna right now, like damn. And because every title contender is basically protesting against the Scudetto, Juventus are now just 5 points away from the top in 7th. Oh yeah, now that we're done with November, you wanna know who won Player of the Month? Cremonese's Jamie Vardy. Yes, that's right, Jamie Vardy this season finally changed scenery and has evolved from washed Premier League player to certified random Serie A unk. And in the same summer, by the way, Cremonese also picked up Benito Mussolini's great-grandson. I love Italian football. Match day 14, into the month of December. Please just give me a Christmas miracle. Oh my fucking god. Thankfully, for the sake of my sanity, Christian Pulisic has been looking like prime R9 since Charlie Kirk was shot, and Milan rallied back to win an absolute thriller. Meanwhile, second place Napoli take all 3 points for 7th place Juventus thanks to Rasmus Højlund's resurgence again. Third place Inter looked at 5th place Como's 10-game unbeaten run and threw that shit into the trash like it was nothing. And 4th place Roma, for the first time throughout this entire season, lose 2 games in a row now. Meanwhile, outside that region, 6th place Bologna take back 5th from Como after drawing with Lazio, and because of Juve's loss to Napoli, the gap between 7th and the leaders widens just a tad bit. Matchday 15, and it is another league leader fumbling it again, as AC Milan give up a late equalizer to Sassuolo and can only settle for a 2-all draw. This was now a golden opportunity for Napoli to return to the top for the first time in 4 match days, but then they lost to Udinese. Next in line to take the throne was 3rd place Inter, who do just enough after a 2-1 win versus Genoa, and so now we have a new league leader. With the initial top 2 dropping points also, 4th place Roma shrinks the gap between them and the league leaders to just 3 points after an important win versus Como. After losing to Napoli in the prior week, Juventus bounced back with a win versus Bologna, and because of Como's loss, the old lady hops over both teams into the top 5 for the first time since match day 6. Match day 16, things get a little messy now because some of the matches had to be rescheduled due to the Supercoppa. But no matter how chaotic things can get in this league, it appears Roma will never be able to beat a top 4 team this season. Also, Fiorentina finally won a game, 5-1 to be specific. What the fuck happened, Udinese? Match day 17, we are up to date now, and this was probably the tamest week in a bit. The top 5 all won their games, meanwhile Bologna and Como once again swapped spots. But because of all of the recent craziness, there's just a 10-point gap between 1st and 7th. Pretty boring ending to the video. Yeah, I know. Actually, before this match day began, rumors started popping up about how Christian Pulisic and actress Sydney Sweeney were dating. This was all hilariously fake, but somehow it gained a lot of traction from some pretty big accounts, including this one that I hope one day burns to the fucking ground. Anyways, the reports got so out of hand that Christian Pulisic had to personally come out and deny said rumors. Which, fun fact by the way, was about a month quicker than the time it took for him to explain why he opted out of the Gold Cup this summer. And so, at the end of the year, after 17 match days gone, this is your current league table. Inter go into 2026 as league leaders, but there's only 4 points separating them from 5th place Juventus. Then you got a close battle for the Conference League between Como, Bologna, and transfer embargoed Lazio. But going back to said league title, seeing how no one wants to actually win the Scudetto, this is going to be a very fun second half of the season. I can guarantee that. But come the end of May, who do you guys think will win Serie A? Will it be the leaders Inter, their rivals Milan, who are in 2nd, 3rd place Napoli, Roma, who are in 4th, or hell, even 5th place Juventus? Let me know. This is very much going to be the last video of the year. All I can really say is a big thank you to all of you for all of the support, all of the love, all of the very fun memes that have happened throughout this entire year. It has probably been one of my favorite months when it comes to just YouTube in general. It just feels like I've gotten a better connection with the community, and I'm hoping to do more of that come next year. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys so much. It's been a fucking pleasure. It's been a wild ride for my first time in New York, like doing content and everything, but I wouldn't trade this for anything else in the world. I get to look outside my window and just see like the city, and it's just kind of surreal to me. Like I never thought this whole YouTube thing would ever actually become a real dream come true. And I especially never expected myself to live in this city of all places in the world. So again, thank you guys so much. Thank you guys for all the messages and everything. I'll stop there before I start yapping even more. Of course, though, a massive shout out to all our members, including Janos Balas, German Sayu 7, Jeremiah Owusu Ajimong, Django, Anazia Makalankam, Alex Rod, Kentra Gacha, Saint Terrence, Sylvia Citrus, Cheesebait, Winder Gel, Finn Likes Rugby More, Davox, The Portergeyser, Wise Orange, Polo Protos, Van Fan, A Ghostly Owl, Coney Wolves, Lickstab, Mutanai, Apollo, Thrilling ADT 13, Los Milos, LeJames Braun, Vecino, Napside, Money Cash Host, Quantavious Pork, Lilia Lover, Stewed Monk, Red Yellow, Fuxi, MX Sand, Harry Maguire's Left Toenail, Flaquito, Thierry's Thoughts, Kev C, Dominic Griffin, Kyler Kress, Mohamed Altanib, Nish, Patrick Barley, Rashford God 5, Raspberry Ale, and Unbroken Persona. If you'd like to become a member on the channel, there'll be a link down below and up in the annotations. You can follow my Twitter if you want, follow my Instagram if you like, follow my Twitch. Hopefully I can be a little bit more active now that I'm actively looking for new editors, like multiple different editors. But until then, Happy New Year's everyone. I'll see you in 2026.